Order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Pete Pedersen.
Here.
Council members Dave Dillon.
Here.
Lindsay Larson.
Here.
Norris Johnson.
Here.
Corey Pedersen. Absent.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda, but on approval, I'd like to group a couple things together. I'd like to move 12D up into 10A so that they are done together. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Under ordinance on the first page, Tammy, under ordinance
See which one we're looking at.
479, the local emergency, there should have been a suspension of the first reading motion. There's not,
Yes, there should have been.
and then we passed the second.
Yep, but we didn't do that at that meeting. It was just a motion.
Pardon me?
At the meeting, you just called for a motion. You didn't call for a suspend of the first reading.
Oh, for sure? Okay. Because we should have suspended the first reading. So can that be noted that the first reading should have been suspended?
Yes.
And then that it was a passing of the second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Approval of bills, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Do you want me to have you read these back like I normally do, Tammy, or
No.
no? Okay. When we get to the wordy ones, I will. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public hearing, there's no public hearing. Is there anybody here for the open forum that has requested? I see a request there. Is that person here?
I don't see her.
Okay, then we'll move on to request a communications update on the state. The only update, and I think we'll be sharing some of those, is that in May, and I forgot to mention it to Tammy, in May, we'll know better at our May meeting, and we'll put it on there on the latest COVID monies that'll be coming, the CARES monies. So that'll be
Yeah.
under the state on the May one, because we'll know what we can spend it for and how much it'll be. So that should be on the May. Update on the from the county. Phil, have you and Gary met with the county on the problem at the Legion, and have we did any meeting?
He's got an update for you.
Okay, we'll take that at this time.
You want to go over here?
Wherever you want to go.
I went to the Legion.
Are they gonna be able to hear him on?
No. You'll have to go.
So anybody that is gonna speak should go up to the podium.
Okay. Well, I was at the Legion this afternoon, and we cameraed the line that he's having issue with, the roof drain, and it doesn't go to the storm sewer. It goes underneath his building to the sanitary sewer, and it's broken underneath his building, so it's not related to the project at all.
Okay.
It's just got a different issue, so.
So
And they
you
are
got-
planning on starting construction back up over there. They were hoping it was gonna be this week, but with the 3 inches of rain, they're thinking it'll be the beginning of May.
Okay, as
That's,
far as the Legion, they can't repair it and hook it back up to the sanitary sewer. It shouldn't have been hooked up there in the first place, correct?
it shouldn't have been, no. It's still hooked up there right now, but it's just full of rock, so I'm working with Travis through that right now.
Okay, but I wouldn't even take the rocks out because I don't think they should be hooked up to the sanitary.
They shouldn't be, but we're
Huh?
working on it.
Okay, so that's good. And is there any, as far as Phil and you both, is there anything on the project, more update? Because I think we should have Phil as part of examining that road, because there are so many flaws in it. And do we as a city request from the county after your examination to have them, take up most of the asphalt that they laid last fall?
Well, I think they're gonna patch what needs to be patched before they put
But I think we have to be there.
okay, we'll talk with the,
Because right now, if you look at some of the, and we'll discuss it when we get to the,
yeah, you can see it.
huh?
You can see it.
And the other thing is if you cross it north and south, east and west, I mean, if you're going north and south, there's a dip in every one. And the manholes will end up just like they did on 10, or do they plan on raising them?
The raising.
Because they didn't do it up on 10. Okay, so the plan is to have you kind of look at that with them, Phil,
Okay.
if that's okay with the council. Council have any objection to that?
Oh, as long as it works for Phil.
Yeah,
We- We've met with them before, so we'll do that again.
okay. And then the other thing, as far as the county, I don't know if all of you have read the paper already. They elected to go away and back to a coordinator. So that's news that the county, or did you know that, Tammy?
I seen it in the paper.
Yeah. They will be going with a coordinator. And the other thing I want to remind the citizens and have Mary put it online is that meetings for the estimated market value that you and I received. And
Okay.
that the estimated market value in Milaca went from 229, almost 230 million, up to 244 million. And new construction last year that was on the tax roll went up $54,800 was new construction. And also, the other thing I think we have to talk about sometime is that the meetings of the equalization schedule. Princeton's the only town that has a local meeting. It might be something that we want to bring back here and have that as part of us, but we should look at that in the future. And remind the citizens, but I'll talk to Mary on that and Tammy. I'm getting something out so our citizens know which meeting to come to for their taxes, okay? Any other questions on that? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion on resolution 2117, donations to the Vets Memorial.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then moving 12D, the Veterans Memorial Pre-Construction Meeting of April 14th. Tim, you have a report?
Yeah. Gary and I and Tammy and Dave Blommel from engineering firm met with the contractors, and we went over the pre-construction plans and took a walk over to the park and went through the site and just kind of went over what was going to be happening. And they plan right now, they plan on groundbreaking on probably the middle of May. And there really is, the only big change is that we deleted the angled walkway, the angled portion. So the walkway will be straight north and south there in front of the tank. It didn't really have much of a purpose, and it'll save us a little money. And donations keep trickling in, so we're in pretty good shape.
Okay. On the donations, other than the benches, are there any other thing that is not on that bid? Donations and what else were not on that bid? Do you remember, or was it just the donations?
I don't think the granite is on the bid. None of the
Not on the
granite.
construction, that's a separate,
Yeah, that's a separate bid.
yeah, the granite is a separate one.
Yeah,
That's two bids. But when, like, the one for 6,100 that was on the donations, that is something that is not already figured in the amount on your flow sheet, is it?
For the,
So what
are you
what is?
talking about the purchasing of the granite?
Yeah. Because as you're keeping track of your flow sheet for what is being spent and, you know, how close they are to zero,
Right,
I don't think you can subtract that 6,100 from the project, because that's a separate item, I think.
the bench, all of the benches were included in the granite quotes, or the bids. All of that was all together,
yeah, I think she's right.
yeah.
No, because we kept them out of the bid. Well, we
I
should
don't-
look at that.
No,
We
I
ta-
don't believe you
We talked
did.
about it, but I think in the final.
Yeah,
go-around,
otherwise,
It was in the bid,
Okay.
pretty sure. Gary, do you have anything to add about the pre-construction meeting?
No, I think it went well. Sounds like everyone's excited to get started.
Yeah.
And your estimated project done?
Right around October 1st, somewhere in there.
Yeah, the longest was just on waiting on the granite.
Right,
The majority of the construction will be finished up
yeah.
in July.
Okay.
So we're moving forward.
Okay.
Thanks for all your
Thank
work,
you.
Tim.
And thank your whole committee.
I will.
Resolution 2118,
Move for approval. Second, sorry.
wait. Any discussion on it? The only comment I have on that is with those rings, we should send it back to the parks as far as usage. Can I come down there in the afternoon and use the ring and the picnic table? That's a decision for, or a recommendation. Well, what do you think, Tammy?
I think if somebody wants to go down there and use them, I think they should be able to use them any time of the day.
Yeah, most parks, you just use them.
Okay, but if there's.
I already did it once today.
today.
Yeah, as long as they're,
Huh?
open.
You're not gonna be able to stop them from using them.
No,
Okay, Well, I'm just saying,
Talk about it there, yeah.
I don't,
but there could be a problem there, so. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2119, donation to the kids event and planters and rec park. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion on that.
Oh, it looks like a good event.
Yeah.
Mark,
No-
Mark Wubben is here. Did you
Oh,
want to get
oh,
up
I'm
and just
sorry,
talk
Mark.
about the project at all?
Talk about it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can talk.
Oh, I'm
Perfect.
sorry.
I'm game.
You were the masked man back there. I couldn't see who it was.
You're looking a lot like me, Pete. Pretty much the event was, I don't know, personally, Gary and I talked about it, just something I thought this community and any community needs, where kids and parents have been cooped up for so long, that get them out, do something. Open environment, build something, do something, and it's kind of an idea that I came up with, and it's events I've done in the past from previous employers are related to this, where you have them build something. Initially, we were going to put them in the park, display them, but now we've come across that the native plants, the plugs we're putting in there, may not last the winter because of the cold, being in a box. So now, better yet, they're going to be able to take them home with them. And I think as a kid building something, and we're going to have annuals put in there too, so they're bright and colorful, and they'll be able to walk out home with it and carry it with them and take it to their house. And I'm going to have instructions made up to keep them in a basement or in a warm spot during the cold season and stuff, and then place them back out. And then come next spring, we'll be sending them out a packet of seed, native grass and flower seed that they can replant, keep replanting it and building the box every year. And if we were going to put them in the park, I was going to have an additional event, have them come down and let them paint the boxes, make them their own, and they'll have a plaque on them that'll be their box based off a number. And so I had to drop that because I'm going to let them take them home. But if they want to paint them and send us photos that we can put on Facebook and, advertise things like that for the community, I think it'd be a great thing. And we've got a lot of people lined up, a lot of people we use, Public Works, vendors, they're coming out in support. I've got all kinds of booths going up, fun games. I got all kinds of stuff set up for the kids to do that day. So anything kid related, chewing bubble gum, I'll supply bubble gum if I have to. That's a kid thing to me. So whatever I can do, and if anybody has any ideas within the next month, I would be more than open to hear them, and I'll find room for it. But that's it in a nutshell. I mean, it's we'd like to do more of this, and putting the Public Works hosting it on there, I think is, if there's any negativity out there in the community regarding Public Works, I want to try and alleviate that. We're not bad people, and we do our jobs, and let them see us. I mean, we're usually in trucks and tractors and plowing and doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, so they can see our smiley faces.
Well, what about the possibility of the 3 areas down by the band shell that need planting?
Well, the initial thought was, when this first came to being, it was going to be a 2-step planter box, a stair step.
Yeah.
I was going to put them in a stair step, kind of like a wave along the walk path up to where it lies before the walk path goes around the new addition there. But then I realized that, I don't know, we were running out of space for that amount. And then ideally, if I could have made enough and covered almost a 1-acre area down there, which is still a lot of green space, I could have got a grant from DNR to cover that. But it's this way. I said, let's do it this way. Split the boxes, make 300, and then I'll let them take them home. So we don't have to worry.
No, I'm not saying
but
about taking them home, but you said another project, and I, not doing this project in those 3 areas,
Oh, yeah.
but
And,
actually planting
I mean,
that.
other things that crossed my mind were like, vandalism. Of course, we have cameras down there. I don't want boxes getting destroyed. Other events, like the Rec Fest, if people run into them with campers, trucks, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want it to become an ongoing maintenance issue for us for repairing. I had it set up where they would be watered regularly from the garden club and stuff like that. But this way, it'll be fine. I think as a kid, I would be more happy to take it home with me
All
and
right.
be able to watch it grow. So, but other than that, it's plugging along as planned, and a lot going on right now for it. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to holler at me. My number's on the flyer that's been circulating on Facebook and whatnot. So, any questions?
No,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, did we take a vote on that?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Resolution number 2120, transfer of funds from 216 back into 217, and the allocation of those funds. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval. I'll second.
Comments? On someplace, here, under the first whereas, 218 shouldn't be there. I think it's just 216 and 217 we're dealing with, correct?
Yes.
So it should just read 217. The first whereas. And these are not new donations, it's just splitting the donations that were made into separate funds. So, do I have to have an amendment to change that, or do you just want to call it typographical error? And
Yep, we'll just call it as a typographical.
okay. Okay. The other thing about that is I'd like to see the unallocated, on the back of that sheet, the unallocated in there of 2,500 be sent back. And at one time, the Park Commission was talking about some type of signage down there. And I'd like to get a recommendation from the Parks Commission on using that 250 for some type of signage for the donor. But that should be sent back to the Park Commission before we spend it. So, any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2121, calling for the redemption of the outstanding GO bond. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
I will second.
Okay. Is there a change of what we had?
Yes, Dave had caught that total expense would be the 176,854.17.
854.
Yep,
Okay,
176,854.17.
okay.
That would be the
That is on this page here,
required,
right here. circle.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll entertain a motion to amend that figure of 175 to 176,84, 854.17.
So move. Second.
Any discussion on that amendment? All in favor of the amendment of changing that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, any discussion on the rest or any input that you'd like to make, Tammy, on that?
No, Norris and Lindsay and I kind of went through this, and being that this is the highest bond issuance at 3.15 and 3.25, and this one has the highest levy, so this would be actually a reduction on our 2022 tax levy It would take out 105,000.
And the savings on interest would be roughly?
$5,333.33.
Okay. That's for information. Any other comments on that? All in favor of the amended motion, the complete motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Ordinance number 480, amending title Land Use, Chapter 156.057, second reading. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Discussion?
Mm,
Oh, who seconded it?
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion from any of the council members? After talking to Tammy, the heading and some of the confusion that went on last month is that Tammy and I talked, after talking, that it, on the heading of that subdivision, if we put accessory building structures, residential uses instead of and. Is there any problem with that? Remember we discussed that, Tammy?
Yeah, Marshall,
Because that was the big problem that came about. Everybody thought it was all throughout town,
you know,
every place.
in the, under D, it talks about all buildings in the residential zone. Does that refer to R1 and R2?
Yes, all
Okay.
residential zones.
Okay,
So, I mean, you wouldn't have to put residential behind it because 1, 2, and 3 are only related to that residential zone.
okay.
1, 2. Where's 3?
Well, I can't remember what the ordinance, I don't have the ordinance right.
But I don't think it's gonna hurt to amend it to put residential and take care of the confusion that went on in March.
But if you read the ordinance, okay, yeah, you can do it, yeah.
I think he's saying under D, the 1, 2, and 3 is referring to the residential area.
Yeah.
So where you don't have, that's what he's saying. You
But
shouldn't
the
have-
heading should also refer to the residential area.
What heading?
Are you talking about
The,
this?
the dark,
The dark heading.
just above where it says, it's just replacing the word and with residential uses.
Right here.
Because if I look at that and then read it like they did last month, it's confusing. All of a sudden, oh, it pertains to industrial, it pertains to everything. Because when we get to the industrial, it does say light industry.
But if you look at letter D, what does letter D say on it?
Yeah,
It says residential zones.
I know.
And then it says 1, 2, and 3. So those 3 are for residential zones only. The other part is rest of the city. So they cannot have an accessory structure in the front yard even in the industrial zone or in the general business zone or anything like that. So you can't change the heading to residential. Letter D states as residential, and those 3 are for residential only, but the other top part is for the whole city.
Okay. Okay. So then our discussion is, okay,
Thanks for the clarification, Marshall.
we had a motion, any other further discussion? All in favor say aye.
I-
Opposed, same sign. Ordinance number 481, the continuation of the declaration of the local emergency. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the first reading.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the suspension of the first reading? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion for the continuance of the declaration of local emergency.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any comments on it? Because we discussed when will we end this and when not. Any discussion as far as the,
Well, I think as long as that next batch of federal funds are coming through, we should probably still be involved.
And the governor extended his
yeah.
emergency, so.
And another thing that I looked online again, and I think, I don't know, it kind of bothers me of what's going on. Minnesota now has the fourth highest positive. They're over 7% positive. So far, there's been 549,832 positive cases, 6,989 deaths. And if you look at the age group on there, the biggest positives now are in the 19 to 30-year-old range. They're all higher than any other range of kids. And since our last meeting, the city, or the 56353 in 3 weeks, has had 100, so in 18 days, we had 106 positive tests right here within the city. I didn't get today's reading because it wasn't out, so I don't have it for a whole month. So in 21 days, so that's over four cases a day right within the city. So I don't know if we should be taking more action or what. You know,
I guess if the council wanted to go back to Zoom meetings, you certainly could next month, if you want.
well, I'm not talking about Zoom meetings. I'm talking about, you know, encouraging more people to wear their masks and distancing and, you know, not doing patrolling yet, but it's getting to that point, I think.
Yeah, but we've had fluctuations up and down before too, so.
But 4 cases a day in just our zip code is a pretty good rise, so that's just my comment. So whatever the council wants to do in the future, you know, but I agree with Dave, we have to continue this. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I'll entertain a motion, resolution 2122 for the summation publication of the ordinance 481 that we just passed.
Move for approval. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Reports on department, city manager.
I'll just give you a quick update with Jessica, the new city treasurer. She's doing good. She's a go-getter. She dives right in, which is great. She had her training for about the first month. And I have to give a great big thank you to both Mary and Dolores, because they really stepped up to the plate to help train her and get her all functional within our Banyan system that we're not too thrilled with, but
That's what?
with our Banyan accounting system that we're not too thrilled with, but otherwise she's been doing great.
Is that getting straightened around the system?
No, it's still will black out on us and just all of a sudden have an execution error. You gotta shut it down and bring it back up.
Did we have that trouble when Tracy was here?
Oh, that's done that for quite some time, but it got even worse after they upgraded to their number 12 upgrade. It really got bad for a while. So we are looking at some different software companies to see what they have out there, what might be available, what the cost would be. Kind of look at that in the future and go to a more user-friendly system. Because this one is by no means user-friendly. So that's what I have.
Okay. Police, Quinn is here, and in your handout, she has an animal control that I haven't read, or that is in the handouts from today.
It don't matter.
You don't, for security purposes, you don't have any concerns?
Nope. Because we have to put a sign up anyway.
What's that?
We have to put signs up so they know they're there.
All right, are we discussing the
Animal control,
animal control first? Okay,
that's what's on the agenda first.
gotcha. So we've been pursuing contracting our animal control with the Russells. They do animal control for the county, for Onamia Police Department, for Isle Police Department. In general, a lot of law enforcement departments are using a contracted animal control. It just assists with us avoiding some risk and liability. Currently, our facilities are, they're adequate for what we've been needing, but I've found over time that we ran into some situations. For example, if we have a dog through a dog bite quarantine that is acting somewhat aggressively, generally, because of our facilities, the only movement that dog gets is between kennel to kennel once kennels need to be cleaned, just because we don't have the training or the equipment to safely move them around for both us and the dogs, to where an animal control unit would have. They've got extensive kennel systems at their property, and so Damien has looked over some contract language, and within the contract, it's basically just a draft at this point. You'll see that there are some fees. I just wanted to make a point that even though it says fees to the city, if you read it in detail, generally the city isn't going to be responsible for those fees. Those fees are going to be covered by the owner of the animal when they pick them up. And just from my experience, the amount of times that we've had a dog that we've held beyond the retention period that we've ended up giving to the Humane Society or some other interested party have been very far and few in between. So there won't be a whole lot of scenarios where the city would actually pay. That cost would be covered by the owner of the animal. Any questions regarding that? So it'll be presented more for a decision likely in next month's meeting. It's just kind of to put on your radar right now and why we feel there's this need. And so you can kind of look it over. If you have any kind of questions or concerns between now and our next meeting, just reach out to me. But otherwise, at this point, is there any questions?
So they would come and you'd make the call, they'd come pick up the dog, bring it to their place, and then if it was my dog, I'd go there to get it?
Correct.
Okay, and then pay the fees and get it back?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's just doing away with the impound we have up there.
So I would say it would be wise to keep that facility as is through the first contract period, if we do contract with
Yeah.
animal control, to not take, because one, we might decide to retain that facility just for the purpose of, depending on the scenario, if they are going to Isle to pick up a dog and then they're gonna come down here to pick up a dog, the officer could at least have somewhere to hold that dog to where the party who found it doesn't have to retain possession of that dog until animal control gets here, so they could just get a key to our current facility. So especially if we decide to go with animal control and then for whatever reason down the road decide we want to go back to what we're doing now, it'd be good just to retain that facility for the first contract period.
Does it only pertain to dogs?
Correct.
So it would pertain to any other type of animals that are illegally within town?
Could you give me an example of something you
mean a
feel?
cat?
No, like if somebody has a snake that,
Oh,
Yeah, no, I mean, they didn't,
No.
I don't believe, we now don't have the facilities for
Okay,
anything
I'm
like
just
that,
saying.
and I don't believe that they would either.
But will he pick it up or will you guys?
A snake?
Say if somebody's pet snake gets out, there's pet snakes in town.
I mean, yeah, we generally, we could attempt to handle it to get it back to the owner.
Okay.
We don't have
I
the
guess
facility
it's
to
a call
hold
Gary.
something like
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, so they actually specifically in most of their contracts,
it's just
make
for dogs.
make it clear that even cats, they're not picking
Yeah,
up.
I seen that in there, but
So,
I was just wondering about other
yeah,
animals. that-
generally,
that might
most
show up
animal
that are
control is,
illegally to have in town.
yeah, generally it's just gonna be canines,
That's the only question. So that will come back at the next meeting,
correct, with a more refined.
more
contract.
refined? Okay, thank you. So no action is done on there, and then you're gonna give quotes on some panic buttons around here?
Yep, so you guys have been provided with a email between Tammy and Troy Walsh with the League of Minnesota Cities. Within that email, it just outlines some recommendations to the city for safety and security concerns. One of those recommendations was that the city looks into some sort of panic or alarm system. And we got 2 quotes, so that's one of the items that we decided to start with in moving forward on trying to meet some of those suggestions that we got from the league. So you have 2 quotes. One is from Electro Watchman, the other is from Anderson Technology. Both quotes are basically for the same type of system. It would include 4 different panic alarm buttons that would be placed in the reception areas within the city, and one that could be utilized in this area. So if there ever was an emergency and someone couldn't use the phone to call 911, they'd have the opportunity to use that alarm system. It also, as you see, I think both quotes cover to where because sometimes the concern is, so say in Dep Reg, they have an incident where they've activated their alarm. It then goes to, for example, with Electro Watchman, they monitor their own alarm, so it would go to Electro Watchman's basically dispatch center, who would then call our dispatch center, so there's some delay in that. So with both quotes, we also included to have a strobe in the police department, just in case there was somebody already in there. They would see that strobe going off and know that in one part of the city hall here where those are installed, there's something going on. My recommendation would be to go with Electro Watchman. Obviously, they are the least expensive quote, but also on top of that, they were the quickest to get us information. We basically had to ask them once, and they got it to us as soon as possible, and they continued to follow up with us to see if we needed anything else throughout the process. So it appears that they'd be a good company to work with. I do know that the sheriff's office has used some of their solutions for their security there, and they've been more than happy with them for the devices that they've had them install there.
Where are they based out of?
Electro Watchman, I believe.
As far
out
as
of-
getting service?
I believe out of the metro, and according to the county, they've never had an issue with
Okay.
getting service.
I just don't want to run into the same thing that we went years and years with the cameras in the park. you
Yeah,
know.
and I would say even if they came in slightly more expensive than the other quote, I likely would have recommended them anyways, just because through getting quotes from them, they've been very fast to respond to us. They even came out here in fairly short notice to walk through the building with us to just take a look at options that we might have for a couple of the items that were recommended from the league.
Okay. What are your thoughts, not only on City Hall, but also on other buildings in town that would be nice to have this type of procedure? And mainly I'm thinking about the liquor store.
Yeah, it's something that could, if.
I don't know, Tammy and I kind of talked about it the other day.
Yeah, I don't think you have any quick action security, do you?
Yes, we do. We have a panic button.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Okay.
It goes right here, I think, actually. It called for the police department almost immediately.
Okay,
I know that the 2 times I've worked there that it's been hit, they there within 3 minutes.
I would imagine that it likely goes to a monitoring company that then calls our dispatch, but we could actually, if you want to know for sure, whichever company,
Well, we use Sentry Systems for our alarm system, but
Okay.
I'm not positive that panic button that we have.
Okay.
is actually for
okay.
Sentry
well, and we could check with the security
Okay.
company and run a test on that to know for sure.
So I didn't realize you had a panic button out there.
So,
So, but you don't know which company that is, you two can check on that?
yeah, so if,
Okay.
with her system,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll just
if,
hit the button and we'll find
Wow.
out.
I should probably run through the company, because like I said, it's not likely gonna go directly to us. That's, those systems work, it's a monitoring
Because
company.
our alarms go off around the outside of the building, like if somebody tries to get in when we're not there.
Yeah.
That goes to Sentry System, but that's not very fast. I mean, when we hit that panic button, it's like that. So I mean, it could still be the same people, they just priority wise it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
But
generally,
there's been times the security companies called me before they
Yeah.
even called the police when it's been active.
yeah, so generally panic buttons are going to bypass the process of calling to try and get a authorized user to give a passcode if it was a false alarm or not.
Gotcha.
So they generally are gonna go straight to a dispatch.
I will call my.
why don't you two
Yeah,
work on that and check that one out?
I'll
sounds
check
good.
the Sentry.
And was this in the budget or where is it coming out of?
No, this isn't in the budget,
Okay,
but under the carpet quotes, we have additional dollars left over in that budget portion.
so we wouldn't have to
We
transfer
wouldn't-
anything into the city hall budget to
No.
cover this?
No,
Because the budget in the city hall is
Yep.
good enough to take care of it.
yeah, we have enough in our city hall improvements
Yeah,
budget portion
To
to
take care
take
of it.
care of it.
okay. Any other questions of Quinn or Tammy? Council? I'll entertain a motion to go with Quinn's recommendation.
So move. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else on your report, Quinn?
Negative. Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving on to the Parks Committee. Gary?
Yeah, we had a lot of good discussion. I guess the one thing that they did want to bring back to council was the lighting for the basketball court and the skate park. The two options, I guess, are the quotes that I think I brought here a couple months ago, or put them on there's an existing telephone pole in the outfield of the baseball field right there. There was a suggestion to put lights on that, but there's some issues with that. You'd have to run a new power line to it anyways and bury it, and that's what a significant portion of the cost for the new lights is anyways. And putting them on that pole, you just get light from one side of the area instead of all around it. So the discussion and consensus of the park board was that they wanted to suggest going with the Granite Ledge contract, or quote, I guess, for 6 new light poles with LED lights and a timer function on them, so they would turn off at 10 PM when the park closes.
Any questions of Gary? That'll be coming out of 216,
Yep.
and is 216, how many more projects that are on the,
It's pretty limited right now. There's not a lot. We have a list of things they'd like to do, and this is next up, I guess, and there's still plenty of money left over, and then we have a portion that they want to leave for, I don't know, the next big thing, I guess, in, the future.
well, there's so much unallocated and, till those funds cause we finally got 217 squared around tonight. And don't we have, hasn't the council approved, lighting from the park along the pathway in Trimble? Wasn't that,
Not for me.
No, that hasn't
That's-
come up yet.
There's lighting in Trimble with the Veterans Memorial, but not,
yeah, but I thought there was supposed to be lighting along there and also lighting at the campsites. It was when I was on the park commission once.
there was never a suggestion for that to go in front of the council. Not once.
There was so much set aside for lighting, so, okay.
It wasn't, I guess it wasn't specified where the lighting was, and when we were talking lighting in Rec Park, this is where they wanted it on the new equipment that was just put down there. Because we have kids that play
Yeah.
basketball and skateboard into the fall, and that's what they wanted, so that's what I got prices for.
So how soon
It'd
is the
be-
10 o'clock curfew come into effect?
What are we talking?
That's all year round.
No, I know, but right now, it's light till 10 o'clock now. So the usage would be what? Couple months?
For the lights?
Yeah,
Well, I don't think it's not light till 10 o'clock right now.
No, not
It's
till
dark
like
at 8.
June.
I
okay,
mean, shortly after 8, we see 2 weeks in the summer where it's
Okay.
slightly light till 10 o'clock, but
okay, so, okay, I just wanna make sure that 216 can handle it,
it can, and I mean, that's what, we were going over the numbers at the park board, and
okay?
this is their suggestion for the next item of things they wanted to see in the parks.
Okay.
That's why I'm here.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, anything else, Gary?
I need a clarification on the quotes. The quote was for the lowest one to go with Granite Ledge at 23.5, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything else for parks right now.
That
Okay.
court looks really nice down there.
Oh, yeah,
Ah.
we added a little bit more of it today. We were short a couple pieces, so to finish up
Okay.
now.
That really is nice.
on these lights that we just passed, are they gonna light up the camping area better?
Yep.
Okay, they should, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Because
So we bring,
that's really dark, and then I still would like to.
they have more, there's more lighting to come in recommendations from the park board. I'm waiting on
Yeah.
more quotes to bring you guys, so
Be-
this is
be-
just
be- Because
what I
along,
have.
along the drive, walking up from the river,
That's all to come. I'm just waiting
that's
on
all
quotes.
very dark, and see, that's what I thought was supposed to be done first. Okay, very good. Public Works, active report on seal coating coats.
Yeah, so the prices for seal coating this year were cheaper than the last few years. My recommendation was to go with Allied. They were the cheapest, and they did last year, and I think it turned out well.
And the seal coating, I seen a map someplace. Is going,
Saw the 23.
huh?
Saw the 23.
South of 23, okay, so southwest area,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. What?
So that's yours and Phil's recommendation to go with Allied
Yes.
on the seal coating. I'll entertain a motion, and that's in the budget, correct?
Correct.
Move for approval. Second.
How much did we have in the budget, do you recall?
For streets, 118,000.
Yeah, there's more to come out of there. I'm doing an alley, and then I'm still waiting on prices for crack filling before seal coating here, so
Okay,
more stuff.
so, but that's taken care of. Any more discussion on the seal coating of the south East, you said?
Not
West.
east.
Huh?
Southwest.
Southwest.
Southwest, okay. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of Allied doing it at a cost of $35,020? Is that it?
Yep.
Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion of surface evaluation from Phil. Or is that a combination of you two?
He's a professional.
Good evening, Mayor, members. If you want, let's do this in two parts. First, I'll talk about the overall study that we did,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about maybe a project for this year. So at your request, Gary and one of my coworkers, Chuck Bolzer, and I got together, and we came up with a way to evaluate all the streets in town. And what we did is, each of us independently drove and walked every street in town, mostly drove. And then we wanted to do that independently so we didn't influence each other's decision. And then we got together and went over our rankings. We ranked each street on a 1 through 5 basis, a real basic system. And it was kind of neat when we got together, most of our comments kind of jived. And the priorities we all came up with were the same. So I gave you all that data. It's in the back of your council packet, but you can see this, the majority of the streets, the good news is the majority of the streets in town are in relatively good shape. And if we keep doing the maintenance that we just talked about, the seal coat, the crack repair, and occasional patching, they've still got quite a bit of life left in them. So that was kind of good news and a nice surprise. But there were a number of streets that got low rankings in the 1s and 2s. And I think if you drove around, you'd probably come up with the same results yourself. So I guess maybe that's not too much of a surprise. A surprise for me was more the Hidden Pines area, kind of a newer street, and that turned out to come up pretty low on our rankings. But we came up with the rankings, and then we came up with some priorities to come up with a 5-year plan, to establish a 5-year plan, so you guys could budget a little better, and we could maybe tackle some of these repairs. And those, the recommendations are shown on page 2 of our report letter. I think I'll start at the bottom and work up. Recommendation 4, it's the 4 recommendations on just page 2. That letter, yep.
Yeah, on the back side. He's got it on the back side.
It's double-sided printed, I think.
Yeah.
Recommendation 4 is simply to continue with the ongoing maintenance that you have been doing. I think you know that we've got a master plan of the city where a different area is seal coated each year, and as I mentioned earlier, if we keep up with the seal coat, the crack repair, that's something that's been neglected from time to time, but we should do the crack repair, and then spend some money on patching for the worst areas if he just stays ahead of any problems that arise, and do the patching right away. Preferably do the patching ahead of the seal coat, so you seal coat over it. That would maintain the life of the majority of the streets for quite a while.
The seal coating, how much does that extend the surface?
A big rule of thumb is you build a new street, and if you seal coat it every 5 years, you get 25 to 30 years out of the surface. So
If you seal coat a surface every 5 years, you'll get 25 years out of it?
that's a nice rule of thumb.
Theory, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's kind of the program you're on, right? So a lot of these streets were done in the early 2000s. So, and there's a estimated cost in there. I know Tammy mentioned you're budgeting around $120,000 a year on that. So keep doing that. And this is good planning information. And recommendation number 3 is sometime in the next, so maybe 2024 or 2025, to do areas just north of downtown, 3rd Avenue and 2nd Street and maybe 1st Street. And it's the area that's in that seal coat map as the red area. What we're saying right now is those streets for sure need something, but at that time in 2024, 2025, we'd want to do a much more thorough look at that whole area and just see what the extent of a project would be. But for budgeting purposes and for your planning, there's an estimated dollar amount there of $900,000 to $1.35 million, so you can.
Now, this is not mill and overlay, it's complete reconstruction like we did on,
Be bituminous replacement, yes.
yeah.
Not to say that if you got into a deep evaluation of that area, that there might not be a street or two that would just require a mill and overlay. And the second area, our recommendation number 2 is for something in 2022 or 2023, and that would be that Hidden Pines area and the Junction area. Those streets came up pretty high on the ranking, or low on the ranking, indicated that they had a lot of distress. And again, we're not exactly sure what would be done on those streets. We do want to evaluate that further at that time, but that could be a $1.2 to $1.8 million project if in that ballpark. And you'd want to just evaluate it at that time and come up with the exact extent of the project, a more accurate estimate. And then if we want to do a project this year or next year, we're recommending that the area be 2nd Avenue Southwest and 3rd Street, just in the area south of Teals. Those 4 blocks there. That surface condition of those is pretty bad, as you can
That's the
see.
hill and.
The hill and then the 2 blocks
Yep,
south of
that's really
downtown.
bad.
You mean, Puckett Hill?
Yep.
Yep. And that would kind of button up that area too, right, with the county project and
Yeah.
and everything else. So that's moving on now to the second part of the presentation tonight. It's just to discuss a possible project for next year.
Because those are streets that we had looked at possibly this year, along with the one from the Armory. Where is that one at?
Oof, yeah.
That's a bad one, and that would show up in that 2024-25 area.
Oh, not till 2024, 25, see?
Because
Well-
those holes have been patched, but that didn't hold.
Yeah, I think they'd have to be a little patch again now to get you
What's
through
that?
a couple of years.
Right in front of the armory there, they're pretty deep patches, or
Yeah.
they were patched last year and they're not anymore.
See, I thought that one would show up on this year.
Well, it's not rocket science, so you certainly could shuffle some of these around. Those 4 blocks that we mentioned,
But you're only looking at 4 blocks plus the alley, I hope, in behind the high rise.
well, we want to talk about that alley.
Huh?
We want to talk about that alley.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's not rocket science. Any of these could be shifted into a higher priority. The one thing nice about just doing those 4 blocks is we're already a little late in the year. And if we wanted to take on a bigger project, doing more than 4 blocks, we'd want to be further along than we are right now.
well, see, that's why we started talking about this quite a few months ago as far as the council, what we wanted to do, and that's why at budget time, I want to be looking at things like this.
Yeah, we talked about Puckett Hill though in that area being
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is the number one thing we've talked about. So we'd be okay for that.
I think we should go ahead with the 4 blocks and the alleyway.
Well, let's
Wait for the alleyway.
let's talk about a couple of things. If we do those 4 blocks south of Teals, the proposal would be just to focus on the bituminous, on the street itself, with spot concrete repair. So I just want to make sure the council's not thinking this would be a project like the county's project where everything gets torn out and replaced. This would be just replacing the bituminous.
Yes,
And
Okay.
probably done right.
And probably done right. But there, in that block of 2nd Avenue, there's a 4-inch water main for about a block and a half, and we'd want to replace that as part of this project, just because that's undersized. So the block between Teals and High Rise has a 4-inch main, and then it extends another half a block to the south. So there'd be some water main replacement, but that's pretty minor. And in the next few weeks, we'd want to televise the storm sewer in there too, to make sure there's no problems with the pipes. That's why there's a range of costs shown
Okay.
on the estimate. What I'd like to do, if you want to proceed, is we'll spend the next month working with Gary and televise that sewer and get some soil borings and take a harder look at that area, and then come back to you with a better estimate in May.
And in May, as of now, what I've been reading, some of the monies that may be coming from May on the CARES money can be used for water and sewer.
Yeah, I think that's
Yep,
true.
that's correct. That's correct.
So that is a possibility. That's not official yet, but,
Right.
okay.
Well, so I think I'm hearing the council say that they understand that this is not replacing all the curb and all the sidewalk.
Right.
We would do spot repairs, and just in the initial looking, there's some spot. The sidewalk along
You
Teals
might
there
have
is
to
pretty beat up.
replace some of the curb to match up with the counties.
Yep. I think we'd be obligated to do to put those pedestrian curb ramps in at the corners that meet the current standards.
And work with TOs as far as entrances and exits.
Yeah, Gary mentioned that. That would be a great idea,
Uh-huh.
and this would be a chance to do that.
Because we could get some parking and work with TOs on
And
entrances and exits here.
okay. That, and I think there could be a better handicap ramp at the high rise put in.
Yeah,
But otherwise, the focus would be on replacing the pavement. The system we'd like to use is one where they grind up the pavement to make it look like a Class 5 material, and then shape that and pave over it. That's called a reclamation. That's dependent upon what the soil borings would tell us what's under.
now is that all, that's all paved too? Down there, it's not blacktop?
It's all blacktop, not concrete. Is that what you're
It's
asking?
concrete?
I don't think there's concrete there.
No.
Is it Main Street
The
concrete?
next block, we're not in the main street.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just south of the
Okay.
concrete work. So if that's an agreement, let's talk about that alley behind the high rise. We could include that in the project too, if that's what you would prefer.
So you'd add that to the project?
If that's the council's direction, I think it's a good time to get it done.
Yeah.
That would be just simply replacing the blacktop. And maybe we want to try to do something to address the drainage coming off of there with some sort of curbing or something. We could look at that too.
And if you're looking at that alley, I know the post office has desire to redo theirs at the same time.
Their parking lot?
They don't have, they're back where they're loading dock in that area. That's not their parking lot, that's the First National parking lot.
Okay, we could certainly work with the contractor and see if they could work something
Yeah.
together.
Because I know they stated that whenever we do the alley, let them know
Oh,
so that they can do their loading and unloading dock.
I think another topic you should just talk about it, I am assuming you don't want to assess this.
Pardon me?
I'm assuming you don't want to do any special assessments on this, but we should.
No, because we have never done, once they've been done, we're to the area now that we don't
Right,
do any assessing
okay.
unless it's,
We would do a reconstruction bond, a street reconstruction bond.
The process is totally
Yeah.
different if we want to do
Yeah.
that, so as long as we've aired that out,
No.
that's good with me. Well, if you want to do that, then I think the request would be that you'd order preparation of plans and specifications for those 4 blocks, knowing that we'll come back and update you in May with a better cost estimate once we have more time to research what the extent of the work would be.
would it be, other than those 4 blocks in that alley, would it be advantageous to look at the alley behind the museum between, you know,
I'm
that,
doing that separately this year, yeah.
oh, you want that a separate bid?
You can get that done.
Okay.
Yeah, that-
With the other asphalt I'm getting done.
Okay, very good. So you're asking for a motion to continue?
I
Please.
just had a quick question. Is it gonna be taking place the same time they finish the county road? Cause is that gonna cause problems? Cause it's gonna block a lot of businesses off
I
again.
think we'd probably be after them, but we certainly would need to coordinate that and,
Just so we can get timing right, cause it's gonna block, I mean, that whole section
Yeah.
off and then that.
I'm assuming we'd be after, because, this would take
What
till,
was your question?
whether or not this would conflict with the county's project and.
Well, I hope they're done before we go through.
Well, you never know.
No, that's a good
I'm just,
And even the access for the people on these 4 blocks, we'll have to make sure that things are maintained so people can get in and out of Teals and the high rise.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll entertain a motion for Phil and the city to go ahead with those 4 blocks in that one alleyway. And that includes the sewer and water.
I'll make that motion.
Is that correct?
yeah, and the alley, I think we should,
In the
Huh?
alley.
and the alley.
And the alley.
So the motion is to order the plans and specs that include the alleyway
Those 4 blocks, the
for those
alleyway
4.
for paving and,
Water main and storm sewer.
and on which street?
The water main's on Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
Is that your motion then, Norris?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Yep, that's it, just like he said.
Now I'm gonna have Tammy read that one back.
Well, yeah,
Can I rewind the tape?
No?
Yeah.
she did read it, yeah.
Well, thank you. Like I said, it was,
We haven't said yes yet.
okay.
Tammy, you wanna read the,
Motion was to order plans and specs for pavement on that 4-block section labeled number 1 with water main on the 2nd Street
That's, yeah.
and the alley.
and alley
And
Sorry
I
about
I
that.
think you'd want to add storm sewer too, just,
and storm sewer.
and we'll
Okay.
verify
Storm sewer.
it by televised.
And spot,
Spot concrete repair.
concrete and curb. Is that okay to add as a friendly motion?
Oh, yeah.
Add those to yours, Norris?
Yep,
That's what he said.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
So when I was saying thank you, I just wanted to reiterate, it was encouraging to see that the overall condition of the streets in town is pretty good. And when you drive around and they're in pretty good shape and they've been maintained well, so it's looking good.
Good. It's good news. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, and Gary, did you have more on, you said something about, but you don't have anything yet on other alleys or other paving?
No, not right now.
And we're hoping to get this done this year.
Yeah.
Phil, okay. Okay, then moving on to the liquor store. I will entertain a motion, if that's what we're doing, because we tabled those items. So I have to have a motion to take them off the table. I'll entertain a motion to,
So moved. Take
the
it off.
parking lot quotes to be taken off the table.
Parking lot or the doors?
Parking lot first. They were both tabled last time. So we're gonna do the parking lot first, because that's first on the agenda. Okay,
I need a,
Vicky.
I
I'll
need a,
second.
I need a second.
oh,
Okay, thank you.
all in favor of taking it off the table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It's on table, so now you can, is your recommendation to have a quote?
We have quotes already, or we have the quote already, I think.
Is your recommendation gonna be
Yes, we need to go ahead and go forward with it.
okay, I will entertain a motion so that we can have the discussion on, going ahead with the parking lot, at the liquor store.
So move. Second.
Okay, now your presentation.
About the parking lot?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, well,
So,
it needs to be done. There's a lot of holes and dents and, it's pretty rough. It's breaking, the edges are, we've probably lost almost a foot all the way around on the edges where it's broke off. The entrance coming in, there's a pretty good dip, there as well. Where our side of the building, where we enter, there's a really huge dip coming out of the building. I don't think anybody disagrees that we need to have it done. We might have them do just a little bit smaller piece. I don't know if they'll adjust the rate for that, just because I have some plans to talk to you about for that side of the building.
The what side?
The north side of the building. On the north side of the building where we park right now, I think she probably gave you a little picture. So we are talking about, and I actually I'm out for some bids right now on this, about adding a cave cooler to the north side of the building.
Well, let's talk about the asphalt before we talk about
Okay.
the building.
I don't know if you have any questions about
okay.
the parking lot? I don't know.
Okay, the parking
So-
lot, does that include what you want us to track? Or do these quotes,
It's just a very small, it's just a very small section that we're gonna be tearing out if I get this other approval, so it doesn't really need to be repaved because we just have to rip it back out.
And that can just be told to the contractor.
And I can
who's-
just tell that to the
Yep.
contractor, it's just
Yep.
a strip right along the side
But-
of the building.
in other words, it'd be cheaper,
It'll probably be cheaper.
that's what I'm
If
saying.
anything, and it's such a small area, I don't even know if they'll do anything. I'm kinda hoping, since we're not gonna maybe do that, our existing parking lot, and I think we have to check with Marshall. Tammy and I kinda discussed this, if we can go out any further along the edges than we currently did. Along the sides of the building and out in our parking area to expand it a little bit.
To the
so.
north.
No, actually to the east
Oh,
and to the south.
oh,
That side, that's what they're doing, and that side of the parking lot is where it's broke up so bad, so if you go a little bit further, it might keep people from
well,
Just on that, you can go right to the property line, but you have to control your water runoff, so you'd have to put curb and gutter or something. That's why there is like a 5-foot barrier or 10-foot barrier there right now. You can't discharge your water onto the next property next to you. So, at the time, they did not want to put curb and gutter out there, so that's why they kept a buffer there, so the water could run off the parking lot
okay.
and not onto somebody else's property. So you could go closer to the property line, but somebody would have to decide how they're gonna control the water runoff.
Okay.
Okay. So really, till we decide that, or till a plan comes up from you and Gary on how to do that, and Marshall, are we even ready to,
I don't think I wanna table it, I think I'd rather just
No.
have them do the smaller area and not worry about it,
okay, very good.
because
If
it,
we do the asphalt, and they'll honor that square yardage price, if we can add it later, and then, we'll
Okay.
talk about
Okay,
what we do.
so what is your recommendation to go which one, you and,
I don't even have the quotes in front of me, I'm sorry.
Oman at 33.9 and Rum River was at 41,670 for a 2-inch mill and overlay.
So Omen would be my recommendation by price.
so is it alternative, the base bid, or alternative one? There,
Base,
133,900 and 147,900.
it would be base bid 1.
Huh?
It would be base bid 1
Thank you, Tammy.
Base bid 1
for $33,900.
for $33,900. And that's your recommendation, Gary and Vicky?
Yes.
So I'll entertain a motion to go with Omen at $33,900
So
with,
moved.
with the money coming from the liquor fund.
Correct.
Yeah, it was in our budget for this year
I'm just
already.
saying.
Yep.
I'll second it, Norris.
Any further discussion on that? Tammy, you want to read back the motion?
The motion is to go with Omen on base bid number 1 for a 2-inch mill and overlay. The amount is $33,900. Motion by Norris, second by Dave Dillon.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That takes care of the parking lot. I'll entertain a motion to on table the door that Vicky is gonna present.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay,
Any,
so,
all in favor, say aye. On
Aye.
tabling.
Aye.
Motion carry, negative, anybody against? Motion carries. Now, the door quotes.
okay, so I got quotes for the door on the south side, where I'd like to add the vision kit so that we have a window. We would also be adding, a handle to the outside. with-
Pardon me 1 minute. Did we have that in our packet?
It's a handout.
Just, yeah, I just
Oh,
got
on
them
the table?
today, so sorry about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I didn't see that in my packet. Okay,
Okay, yeah, I had to separate the quote, because the one quote had both doors that we were talking about, and we decided to eliminate doing the one in the front for now. I decided to eliminate that one mostly because we would have to redo the rock and the pavement and the concrete and everything to make it work, so it just didn't seem right. So this door on the south side would give us vision, and it would give us an alternative entrance for when we're working on stuff in the store. There's been many times we've had to shut the front entrance for different reasons, and we've had to bring people in through the side door. We've used the north side, we don't have a handicap access on that side. It's very beat up, and with the proposal I'm going to bring in further, that door's not gonna exist anymore. So it would be nice to have an alternative way for us to get in and out of the store.
so it's just a simple door on that side, so.
Yeah, the door's already there, they're just gonna put a window in it, they're gonna put a new panic bar that works properly, the one that's there is not working properly. Put a latch on the outside so they can actually open the door from the outside, because right now it's just an emergency exit only. It will also have a cylinder lock on the door, so it'll be locked.
And you just got the one quote.
I've got two.
Two.
There's Rasinski, and then
Oh, yeah.
there's the Heat Miser. And my recommendation would be Heat Miser, only because, as talking with him yesterday when he was in, he had some really good ideas about how to do this, and he can make the handicap thing can be put in without putting any electrical into the ground. They have Wi-Fi type handicap buttons now, so they don't have to put any additional electrical in.
Oh. So your recommendations for which one?
Heat Miser,
And for $5,430,
correct.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Tammy, you wanna read that one back?
Yep. Vicky recommended Heat Miser at the price of $54.30. Mayor Pedersen called for a motion to approve. Motion by Lindsay, seconded by Dave Dillon.
And coming out of, we should add coming out of the liquor fund.
Yeah.
Is that okay with whoever made the motion to add coming out of the liquor fund? Any further discussion or any further comment for Vicky or the council members? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You got one more thing that we have not tabled, so we took care of the table one. You got another presentation.
I do, and I'll make this as quick as I can. This is just for you guys to start thinking about. I have bids and quotes and all kinds of information coming in that will be much more presentative at the next meeting, but I just want you to start thinking about it. So, I'm getting bids to add on a 20 by 60 foot cave cooler on the north side of the building. We would actually put the cooler outside. We wouldn't add on to the building, we would just put a doorway into it. By adding the cave cooler, we can make more room, in the store and in our existing coolers. We've added 3 doors of seltzers in the last year, which means we've taken 3 doors of our specialty beers out in order to bring the seltzers in. So I would like to be able to do that. This would also allow us to put our wine coolers, our pre-mixed drinks, everything's come in a can this year, put those in the coolers. It'd be a lot easier to sell those as well. It will also give us the much needed storage space in the back room that we need right now. That will help keep the front of the store looking nice, clean, and organized as we've been trying to keep it. We've eliminated a lot of wine over the last year to make room for this. Our department beer sales for last year were $1,431,000. And our total department sales were $2,825,000, so 50% of our sales were beer last year.
With beer?
Was just beer, yeah. And with some of the space and moving stuff, so we don't have all the beer in the store and in the back in the storage, we can move some of our storage stuff, and it would be really nice for my employees to have a break room. Right now, they don't even have a chair to sit down on, they stand their entire shift, so.
Now, this down below here is not the new stuff.
That's just the store.
That's the store.
That's just the existing store. I'm just giving you kind of the shape of the
A
store.
20 by 60, Marshall, are they gonna have to have more than one exit on that?
Vicky came in and talked to me, and I would have to see a drawing of how it's laid out, because it goes by how many feet you have to travel to actually get to an exit. So I'll have to see, that's going around coolers, going around everything. So without that drawing, I couldn't tell Vicky exactly how many exits she would need.
And we'll find, and there's a possibility we might have to add a new emergency exit, and we could put that in we have an existing window space with a wall that we could put a door. But I will find that out for sure as far as footage goes, because we do, and I didn't even get a chance to give him one of these. I'm just gonna bring it to you, just so you have it, so I can talk to you the next time you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this is our existing entrance, this is our rear entrance, and this is our emergency exit. So it would just be this one we would be losing, and we could put one here if we needed to. But I will get exact footage for you. I know I have a little bit of space wrote on there, but to actually draw it out to where the walking pattern of the store to get to the.
Do you estimate your sales are gonna continue once COVID is completely over?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah. Last month was the first month of COVID, March of last year, and that's when we got hit. And we got I don't remember what we were up last year, but it was a lot for March. And we were actually up 40,000 this year for March, over last year's March.
But the COVID is still going, well, not
It's
as
still
much
going
as-
on, but
Yeah.
it had started, and we had that big scare that they were gonna shut all the liquor stores down, and we were just bombarded in March last year. And we still beat those numbers this year, so.
What does that extension do to our north property line?
Nothing.
If we would,
We
as a
still have
city-
enough room to drive our semi trucks around the building by putting.
Well, I'm just saying, if we would have Tammy contact the group that has the blighted area to the north of us, to the north of you.
Yep.
I think we should have Tammy contact that group and see what they would release that to.
We have to talk to them anyway, because when we do the paving, we're gonna not have a way to enter the liquor store unless we close, unless we can get them to open that up and let us use that and use our back parking lot. Otherwise, we're gonna have to close during the parking lot.
So can we have some instruction from the council to have Tammy contact Lee and see what we can work out on the city?
As far as transportation, getting in and out?
No, as far as maybe giving that property. Cause I'm tired of that sitting out there as a blighted area. Doesn't hurt to give them
can
a
ask
call.
again.
Huh? Is that the consensus of the council to have Tammy call him? Tammy, you okay with that?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
do that,
Okay.
yep,
we'll go from there. Okay,
all right, thank you.
Planning Commission, Marshall, you're on.
Okay, well, at the last planning commission meeting, it was brought back about the animals and stuff like that. What?
Did we table all these? We
Sent-
tabled them,
No, you just
We
sent
just
them
sent it
back.
You sent them back to planning.
sent them back, but we didn't table them. Okay, I just wanna make sure we get things off the table that are on the table and, okay,
So when planning commission was on Monday, that's why you didn't get these till so late, or they were not in your packet. Councilmember Johnson was there. Do you want me to go through each item, or do you wanna wait till next month when you actually have your first reading? Or what, how would you like to do it?
I think we should have a discussion on some of them so that the first reading,
Yep,
that we
definitely.
don't have to make a bunch of amendments for,
Correct.
and see what the commission recommended and what the council is comfortable with.
So basically, well, just the highlights, I guess, is planning commission recommended doing, allowing animals and farming operations on residential property, 10 acres or more.
Are you going by this?
I'm just giving you a highlight.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if you had questions, we can go
Okay,
step by step, but, so it's 10 acres or more. And then we went through and cleaned up the ordinance where it's talked about agricultural zones and stuff like that. And basically, they created it's called a farming operation, is what would be added to the zoning, which kind of explains conditions on the zoning of the farming operations.
okay. Does that do anything to the ordinances as far as taxes on agricultural land?
We don't deal with taxes, that you have to have
No, I
county.
know, but if our ordinances read,
That county does not care about our ordinances.
okay, I
don't-
I just
yeah.
wanna make
Yep.
sure.
Yep, no, they don't. I mean, they have their own standards that you have to do so much with your property to be agricultural. I mean, we can call it agricultural, but they can call it something else.
So those 7 questions, the commission went over,
Yep,
and would it help you in drafting for the first reading if we go over the recommendations of number 1
well,
and have a discussion?
either that or you can go through this right here, because this one that I got sent to you by email,
Yeah, I got that
is
someplace.
going to be the crossed out one and the underlined ones adding to the ordinance.
Let me,
I have it on email, but not printed.
It's, yeah, it's here. It's underneath
It's the one that was on the desk.
planning commission,
Yeah.
towards the back.
oh, it's the one that was on the desk?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that one's pretty easy to work through.
So
This one you
basically,
did?
Gotta go in there a few pages.
Yeah. Okay,
so
because
it's-
I also ran one off.
So the items are crossed out that they recommended deleting and underlined what they recommended adding.
Okay.
So in 95.04, they crossed out animals. It just said animals at the time. Now they're calling it farming operations. In there, they added farming operations allowed in the city. Crossed out agricultural district because we do not have one. They changed it from 300 feet for an accessory structure to 100 feet from property lines.
100 feet from,
Property line.
what if something already exists within that 100 feet?
This is all new. This would be new construction. We ain't gonna make nobody move a
All
barn.
right.
It should state in here that these are new animal shelters, I would think.
Well,
Well, the old one was 300 anyhow. so
yeah,
it shouldn't
they're
be-
grandfathered in
shouldn't be an
if they're
issue.
there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, then, of course, we had to change a bunch of definitions. There's a few different places there are definitions. Down at 156.006, they changed the definition from farm to farming operations, which again, they added in residential zones with 10 acres or more in size. They took out the commercial agricultural, which is owned and operated by a single-family farm operation, individual, partnership, or LLC, limited liability corporation. Planning Commission did not feel that any conditional use or anything like that should be needed if they want to lease their land out to somebody else to farm or to have cattle on. As long as they have more than 10 acres, they're allowed to do that.
And that wasn't in there, but that was a question? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yep.
Because I don't see nothing crossed out on that one.
No, I brought that up in one of my 7 questions if they
Okay.
wanted to do it as a
Yeah.
conditional use, and they just said no.
Okay.
Okay, and then you go down to R1 single family. If you go to number C7, the only thing added in our R1 district is farming operations on property of 10 acres or more.
Okay.
And that's basically gonna be the same thing under the R2, under permitted uses. They added farming operations on property 10 acres or more. If you turn the page after that, you get into general requirements for the accessory structure. So this is gonna be for barns. They added letter E, that whole thing is all added. So in a farming operation, you can have a pole type structure with corrugated metal siding on the structure.
So there's nothing on that second page, C and,
On C8, yeah, it'd be number 8 down there was
Okay.
added, yeah.
okay.
So on the next page, that general restrictions, so it goes into the accessory structure for farming operations. You can have a pole type structure. They did not require any maximum size, so if you read our accessory structure above, it cannot be larger or taller than your house. They disregarded that, and it can be any size they want. But the maximum height is 35 feet, and that is due to our fire department regulations and that kind of stuff. Structures must be a minimum of 100 feet from the property line. Detached accessory structures cannot be in the front yard. And this is just for farming operations now. They didn't change nothing, this is just for the farming operations.
What type of detached accessory structure could that be in the front yard? What do you mean by a front
You
yard?
can't put so if your house is 200 feet off, you still can't put that barn within between you and the road.
Just like we do with houses.
What?
Just like we do with houses.
Yes, just like we do with houses.
I'm just, okay.
Yep. If you want to turn the page next is our residential fence ordinance. They added letter H down below. They took out, right now, our ordinance said.
Oh, just a minute.
I'm sorry.
Why is it residential on here and not farming operation?
It gets.
Because it's only allowed in residential areas. Farming is only allowed in residential areas.
Okay,
So letter H is the farming operations fencing. They are allowing barbed wire and electric fencing are allowed. The fence must be 1 foot off the property line. But the fence does not have to be removed if you quit farming unless the property goes to less than 10 acres.
This is the one I have just a
Yeah.
question on. I don't know how it could be worked. And take, for instance, Anfinson's property.
Yep.
The vast majority of that is not an issue. But like behind me, that guy's house, his lot, his yard sits right on Anfinson's yard. That's only 1 foot for an electric fence if he's got kids playing.
But that's
You know,
his property.
I know it's his property, but it'd be nice to have more than a foot, but it's just something to,
But a fence
Talk
has
about.
to be 100 feet off the property line.
Not a fence. This accessory building does,
yeah, not a fence.
not a fence.
I know it's his property and you do have a foot, but I
And
just
the
thought.
problem is if you keep it 10 feet, then the farmer's losing 10 feet somewhere else on his other field, the other
Right,
part of his
and the
field
person will
that's
just go
butted up
10
against woods or whatever also.
Yeah,
Then,
Uh,
too, the homeowner would have the option to put their own fence,
that's true too.
you know,
Yep.
to.
Yes.
to
Yeah.
The
separate.
thing I don't like is the electric fence.
And barbed wire.
Or barbed wire. I really, I'm sorry. If you,
Well, I'm not a farmer. You'd have to ask Norris if they're gonna use electric fences and barbed wire for cows and stuff and horses.
well, yeah, but that, it ain't for the cows, but it's, a kid is like in Dave's neighborhood, if they ran an electric fence or down by the Catholic Church ran an electric fence. If you ever been stung by electric fence, it ain't the best thing to get stung
Yeah.
by.
If kids touched it, they wouldn't touch it again.
Well, yeah,
It'd be a
but,
one-time deal.
It's one time,
And it ain't gonna kill them.
no.
Yeah,
I would say, for new fencing, like for horses, people aren't using barbed wire. It's something else,
but I sure don't like,
Barbed wire is more dangerous.
yeah,
Yeah.
both barbed wire and electric, I would rather have it not.
Yeah, what else would it be though?
It'd
Yeah,
have to be the
woven wire.
gated.
You got the old, don't they have woven wire and?
Yeah, you can't,
We've got
I don't think they'll stop
you
cows.
can't, you can't use
That
that,
won't stop cows,
It's gotta
so.
be high, it's gotta be electric or barbed wire.
yeah.
Really? My boy, when I was born and raised, we used woven wire all the way around the farm.
I'd be more concerned about the safety aspect of cows getting out onto our streets.
The what?
I said I'd be more concerned about the safety aspect of the cows or horses getting out and onto our streets than a barbed wire.
Yeah, that's true, too.
or
yeah.
fence.
Okay, well, that was just a question I had.
Okay, and then if you want to turn to the next page, it actually lists the general requirements for a farming operation. This will all be new to the ordinance, since we are allowing farms now. The following development standards are for farming operations, only allowed in residential lots 10 acres or more. And then the number of animals allowed per acre. What it was is I took the counties and I kind of condensed it. They have quite a range on theirs. I mean, they go by weight of cows and stuff like that. And I thought it was just to make things simpler, and Planning Commission thought this would be a lot simpler this way also. But this is pretty much their regulations in the county. The county does eliminate 1 acre for each house, and Planning Commission did not recommend doing that, so. So if you had a 10-acre parcel, the county would say, okay, you can count 9 acres of it, because 1 acre is for the house.
Okay.
And Planning Commission just said, no, they didn't want to do that, so. If you have 10 acres, no matter if your house is on there, you still get to count 10 acres for animals.
Now, is this a combination of?
What's that?
Is this a combination? Say I have cows, pigs, sheep?
No, this is per acre, that's all you can have on there.
No. So I can have 1 cow per acre, I can have 5 pigs,
No,
No,
that's your maximum animals you can have on there.
maximum animals.
Yes, So if you have, just say you only have 1 acre, you can only have 1 cow. You couldn't have 1 cow,
Well, you
10
couldn't have,
sheep.
you couldn't have any cows on 1 acre.
Well, I'm just saying, to make the math easy,
Oh, okay.
is what I'm doing here. So, okay, on 10 acres, you can have 10 cows or 10 horses, or you can have 5 cows and 5 sheep, or no.
Yeah, it's a combination,
Yeah, it's a combination of it,
but
isn't it?
just so that, yeah. But why such a disparity between chickens, turkeys, and ducks? Why aren't they the same?
That's what the county has. I have no idea how they came up with their numbers. I'm just telling you what the county has, so, or that's what we went off of.
Because that's almost laughable, that you can only have 30 chickens, but you can have 100 ducks. I don't know. Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have that many duck farms in.
No, but what I'm saying.
We don't, so.
Only in the summer.
So, and then B goes into the accessory structure. It's in here also. It's the exact same one that's in our residential accessory structure, the exact same standards. And the fencing is the exact same fencing also in the residential fencing. And then,
On the fencing, the good side has to be to the neighbor's side? Just like,
if there's a good side to a barbed wire fence, yeah.
yeah, well, or any fence.
Yeah.
Well, just turn all the barbs so they point in.
I'm just saying.
So, and then the next section is 156.117 is our existing farming operations. I explained to Planning Commission, we had to leave that in there because we do have property that is under 10 acres right now. We have one that does have animals on it, but we do have a few that actually farm, do crops, or mostly hay right now. There's no corn or anything like that, but they do hay. So they put in there that currently existing that are under 10 acres in size. Farming operations less than 10 acres. They cross out the agricultural item again. But they also said that it's going to become a non-conforming use. And in our non-conforming use ordinance, what it does is if they stop having animals for more than a year, they cannot bring animals back there ever again. Now, this is only on property that's under 10 acres that has animals now.
Under 10 acres.
Under 10 acres. And so, yeah, so that's what that is. And then they are allowing, if you just do hay now, you can plant corn, you can do crop rotations and that stuff. It doesn't matter what type of crop, they can do whatever crop they want right now. So that's what they also added to the existing properties, existing farming operations.
So everything under this is on, if the existing is under 10 acres,
Yes, yep.
under the,
And like I said, we only have one property right now in city limits that has animals on it that is under 10 acres. But we do have a few that do hay and stuff like that. So basically, the animal part of it would only concern that one gentleman because he's the only one that has animals, so. It did go on there and say, if the property is used only for crops at this time, farming animals will not be allowed. So you could not bring farm animals even though you're haying right now, if you're under 10 acres. On the next page, signs and billboards, letter C, way down on the bottom. I talked to Councilmember Norris Johnson about this in Planning Commission, and nobody really knows what that means, so they decided to scratch it out, so. Take the whole letter C out. And the next page is going to be your floodplain management and your wild and scenic area. And basically, it is getting rid of, right now, it allows grazing and that type of stuff. And in our wild and scenic area, which is actually the whole Bowerly's area, townhomes down there could have grazing right now. So basically, they took all that out and made it into a farming operation where you have to have 10 acres or more to allow grazing and that type of stuff in our wild and scenic area, in our floodway district also.
What does that do, south of town on Jim and Roxy?
They have more than 10 acres, so
Oh,
it ain't
they have
gonna
more
affect
than
them
10
at all.
Yeah, they do. Okay,
Yeah, they have 30 acres in
Yeah.
town,
yeah.
so. So that is about it. Like I said in the very last one, they inserted farming operations instead of agricultural, just because we don't have agricultural zones anymore.
Okay, where does that put a farmer that wants to come in and put up a vegetable stand on a crop? Does that have to be 100 feet off?
That'd be an accessory structure, yes.
Well, and would they have to get it closer to the road? Would they have to have a conditional use permit?
They would need something, variance or conditional
I'm just
use.
saying, because that could happen, somebody,
There's something addressing that in here, I can't remember, where was that?
I think it was actually under one of the definitions at one point, I think, so.
Well,
because I
it's-
can
it's
see
in-
that happen,
okay,
somebody.
It's in that section 156.117, where it says, letter B. The limited sales of products produced may be conducted on the premises from a roadside stand, but the stand shall not exceed 12 feet in height, et cetera.
Oh,
And
so
40
it
feet,
is
and
a-
40 feet off the street right away.
Yeah.
How much?
40 feet it says,
Oh, okay, so,
and we haven't touched that. That was
Yeah,
what was
okay.
in there.
so I can see that happening, that's why I asked that. Okay. So, in essence, you're gonna come back, is there anything else that the council wants to question before it comes back for the first reading that next month? Tammy, is there any way we can consider this the first reading tonight?
No, it has to have the proper title and
Okay, I'm
signature
just
on it.
asking,
Yeah,
because they would move this along and get it out of our hair.
nope, it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
so.
Very good.
Okay,
Thank you, Marshall, and thank the planning commission members.
okay.
Okay. Jesse, fire. Jesse, oh,
The only thing I had is we had firefighters make it through the probationary period. Tammy didn't list them, but I figured I'd list them off. Marissa Ringard, Emily Burink, Zach Corvella, Chris Fields, and John Hall. We did a bus rescue extrication on Saturday up at the bus garage. If anybody drove by, it was quite an event. Otherwise, that's about it with me.
probation is what, 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
Okay, so are you still in need of more firefighters?
Technically, we are short one. I don't know if I'm gonna hire anybody right at the moment.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jesse. Airport taxiway, phase 1 pre-construction meeting minutes. Anything special on that?
Starting May 17th.
Huh?
They're starting that project on May 17th.
Okay,
Should take less than 10 days. if they're planning on.
and airport will be shut down then or no?
Yeah.
it'll be-
Okay. Anything else on that? No action on that? Committees, economic development. Any comments on that from,
We meet again on Monday. We're spending a lot of time trying to figure out how we want to handle the industrial parkland sale. We've looked at some different options from different communities. Damien's worked with us with some ideas. I think we're close, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
That we'll talk about on Monday, and then we'll be able to move on that. I don't know what else,
And that's about it.
some new businesses. That was about it, I guess.
okay. Personnel committee meeting, Tammy, you wanna go over that?
We met on March 8th. We'll be discussing in the real near future here some union strategy. And we're gonna be working on the personnel policy and restructuring the administrative assistant, we'll work on, kind of upgrade on that job description as well. Was there anything else, Pete?
No, and then
I think
that job description should come to our next, meeting, correct?
Oh, it can just work through us if you want.
Yeah, that's true too, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can just work on it.
Okay. Okay, and we took care budget committee,
Yep, that was just a discussion was all. I just
Okay.
noted it.
and we took that, and Veterans Memorial, we moved up. Joint Powers, the building, any report on that? Have you had any meetings with them?
No,
Okay. Tourism Board, we met, on March 25th. The only thing I see on the agenda, on the minutes from there is, and I'll talk to you, Tammy, on that, because it'll be approved at the tourism. It says $0 down here instead of 400.
yep, I seen that.
Okay.
Yep,
But
we'll-
I'll talk to you on that,
Yep, we'll mention that to John
at the.
Creasy, yeah.
At a meeting when we approve those. So that's coming right along. And we only have the one hotel now that is putting money into the tourism because the Phoenix has closed. Unfinished business, the Fairview thing. Today I met with a realtor that is working for Fairview, and he just got a bunch of the paperwork from the lease and all that. We discussed things that's on there. So that's going on, and then I think the stakeholders have a meeting on the 22nd. At the stakeholders, the survey is done. And that's what we'll be reviewing, the survey, and go from there. And
I think on that that meeting with the stakeholders, Fairview is gonna be presenting some options.
we
also.
hope so.
Yeah,
At that
that's the
time.
plan, yeah.
They may be presenting to us the 22nd, and also at that time, we'll probably make the survey public. And there were, I think I reported last time, there were like 590 some, almost 600 surveys that were filled out. And right now, the stakeholders are evaluating them along with Fairview, and we'll make those public after probably our 22nd meeting and go from there. New business, the tort waiver form.
This is League of Minnesota Cities, right now is renewal time for property casualty. So you have before you the tort liability waiver. We always we do not waive the monetary limits on the tort liability.
Oh, here it is, okay. So I'll entertain a motion to not waive.
So move. Second.
And it's the same thing we do every year.
Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Quotes on the city carpet replacement, Tammy? You wanna,
Yep, we got 2 quotes. I think, Dave, you had mentioned another individual.
Yeah,
Did
he
they-
was not able to, give us a quote. He's just too
Okay.
busy.
Okay. So we got the 2 quotes, and it would be just for the hallways in City Hall.
is that include this out here?
Nothing in here.
No, that hallway?
No, that's all tile.
That's tile.
Oh, that's tile. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yep. Yeah, so I would make the recommendation you go with Carl's Carpet.
With who?
Carl's?
Okay. And that's the more
Corals.
expensive one?
Nope, they're $6,710.
Yeah, and the other one is what?
But you gotta add in their subcontractor that, the 2,700.
Yeah, by the time you add up, the other one's quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I just
Yeah.
don't see the total.
This traditional floors sub,
Oh, you gotta add the 5 and the 4 together, so you're over 10,000.
the 5 and the 2,700.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and so your recommendation is that? I'll entertain a motion, and that's in the budget.
Yes, it is.
So move.
I'll second.
Tammy, you wanna read back that motion?
Motion to approve Carl's Carpet. The quote is $6,710. Motion by Johnson, second by Lindsay Larson.
And money coming out of the city hall portion of the budget.
Yep, this is
Okay.
in the budget.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Special event, kids event in the park that Mark talked about on May 15th, noon to 5 p.m. I'll entertain a motion for acceptances of the permit.
So move.
I'll second.
Any questions on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. COVID-19 leave. I'll entertain a motion. Is the motion to continue or discontinue?
I'll make the motion to continue.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
There was some questions about that, wasn't there?
Well, we looked today at the idea of maybe being able to use that next round of money, that there would be a way to use some of that for this, but it ended up being way more complicated than, of course.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna work out.
And I don't think that was for cities, I think it was for businesses, you
No, it
know.
was cities too.
It was cities too?
Yeah.
But was that the second email we got today from Tammy?
Yep.
Or the last email before? Okay,
Out of what, how many?
yeah. Okay, so we have a motion to continue. Did we get a second?
Lindsay Larson.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carries. Okay,
The June meeting.
no, I'm just thinking. City council meeting in June has to be changed, but there's a problem there, Tammy, because the 30 days from today will be before June 17th.
Right.
So
And I
we
think-
have to schedule a special meeting.
Do we have to schedule, or can we let it lapse?
Yeah, you're talking about
The emergency.
Yeah, the emergency declaration automatically terminates after 30 days. It's built into both the statute and the ordinance, so unless you renew it, it sunsets after 30 days.
Yeah, so we have to have a meeting to renew it.
When's the meeting in May?
June 17th, which
No,
is,
the meeting in
in
May is
May.
the.
oh, May.
Is the
Yeah.
20th.
May is too late. I'm sorry.
You're talking about having a special meeting in May to.
We have to have a special meeting
Continue
in
the-
May. Because the meeting in May would be the 20th.
Mhm.
And I think there's some items that we want to put on a special meeting because we still have to do some, by then I hope we have a letter from the contract from the police union
Mhm.
and evaluation, and Tammy and I can come up with a date for the special meeting. And so we have to have it before,
The 30 days.
You're gonna, the last working day would be, I think, May 14th, Friday, May 14th. That'd be the 29th day. If I'm doing my math right.
Okay. So we'd have to have one maybe on the 13th.
no, we have to have it before then, because we're the 10th now.
So 15th day.
The 15th.
Oh, 15th, yeah,
So the 13th is day 28.
yeah.
The 14th would be day 29, and then you have the weekend.
So we have to have it the weekend before the 14th, the week,
Yeah, 10, 11,
The
12.
14th is the last day.
Yeah.
You meet
Yeah.
anytime from the 14th.
So we can meet on the 13th.
if that works for everybody's schedule.
Not this one.
Huh?
Not for me, it won't.
Oh,
Because we meet any day of the week, we don't have to
Right.
make them
Yeah.
Thursday.
Wednesday, the 12th?
That'd probably be better.
I don't know. Norris and Dave?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all work for me right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, Wednesday, there's something down here. Oh, never mind, it's one of those holidays that I can't pronounce.
May 12th?
Is that a Wednesday?
Yes.
So a special meeting, May 12th?
At
And I'll sign that, and Tammy and I'll get together with the agenda on that
at 5 PM.
at 5 PM.
Does that work?
I actually don't know, because that day I believe I'll be doing my second dose. And I don't know what time.
Oh,
it'll be,
okay.
So I might have to look at my phone, or I'll be,
Okay.
No, I'd like to have you in person here for that one.
okay, well, I'll either be here or I'll be in St. Cloud getting my second
Oh,
vaccination shot. That's the.
well, we can change it.
No, I,
Or the 11th,
It doesn't matter to me.
or the 11th. I mean,
Dave and,
That doesn't matter to me either.
Yeah, 10th or 11th should be
Huh?
fine. Should be
Good.
fine.
okay,
May 11th
5 o'clock?
at 5 o'clock?
Yeah,
So
that
doing the
works for
11th?
me.
May 11th? I'll entertain a motion to have a special meeting that will be called by the council rather than by me, and Tammy and I'll put the agenda together.
It'd be a short agenda, so I
Yeah.
might have something at 6:30, but
Yeah, we should be good.
Oh, we,
Yeah.
be way, long gone. but-
yeah,
Yeah.
or do you want, well, you can't make it earlier
No.
than 5.
Right.
So I'll entertain a motion, or did I get one?
No, you didn't.
I'll entertain a motion to have a special meeting May 11th at 5 PM.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. City council meeting, June 17th. To move council meeting date due to the parade. So when do you want to move it? And what's your recommendation? You'd rather not go the week earlier,
No, because we can't get bills out fast enough.
or do you want to go a day earlier?
Like the 16th you're looking at?
The 16th or the 15th? Huh?
Try the 16th.
That should be fine.
Are we okay on that?
Chamber people.
How do we fall for the 30
Is
days?
that in-
Huh?
How do we fall for the 30 days on the 16th?
On the 16th from May, we meet May 20th, so we're okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yep, we would be.
Because we meet May 20th,
Can renew it again then.
so we'll renew it May 20, we'll renew it on May 11th, we'll renew it on May 20th,
Is it chamber
and
meeting
still
that
be
day?
within all our,
Oh, I just wondered if there's something like an event going on, but I think Kitty Parade is Tuesday,
So what date
I
were
don't
we
think
going with?
The 16th, that
The
Wednesday?
16th?
Wednesday the 16th.
Yeah,
okay,
June 16th.
June 16th. So one's a Wednesday and one's a Tuesday. I'll entertain a motion on that.
So move.
I'll second.
Any other, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Motion carries. Nothing miscellaneous. Tammy, you have anything?
I don't,
Anybody else in the audience? You know, I didn't ask for open forum tonight.
yeah, you did.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, she
It was just
wasn't
a
here.
long time ago.
She wasn't here. Lindsay, any comment?
Good one,
No.
Morris.
None?
None.
Norris?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, the other night I was out on an emergency plumbing call and Gary and friends showed up, about, what is that, about 1 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. And, the good, prompt response and, they were there and did whatever needed to be done. It was, well, yeah, but, no, that was nice to see, and there with a smile on besides.
What? Did you call them all in?
Well, I didn't, but the
Oh.
homeowner did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they weren't sure what the problem was.
Okay.
One of those mysteries, plumbing mysteries.
Okay, Dave?
Nope.
And I'm not gonna have any either tonight.
What?
I do have some things, but I and Tammy can talk about them and we can get it taken care of in one of the meetings. Okey dokey.
So you gonna call for a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
No move. Second.
I guess I did have one more thing.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign.
Okay.
Tammy, get what has to be changed in here.